أن تدخلوا الجنة ولما يأتكم مثل الذين خلوا من قبلكم مستهم البأساء والضراء وزلزلوا حتى يقول الرسول والذين آمنوا معه متى نصر الله ألا إن نصر الله قريب صدق الله العظيم. As a prelude to Ayah 214 of Surah Al-Baqarah, we'll mention one hadith of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, which shall assist inshallah in understanding this ayah, and the subject matter of that hadith is also tied in with the subject matter of this ayah. That is a hadith of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Ad-dunya sijnul mu'min wa jannatul kafir." That the worldly life, the world that we live in currently, this world is sijnul mu'min, that this is a prison for the believer. Wa jannatul kafir, and it is as if it's a paradise, it's like a garden of the disbeliever. Ulama, in explaining this hadith and the subject matter of this hadith, mentioned two qualities of the sijn of a prison firstly, and then of a garden. That there are two qualities that stand out when we want to understand this hadith as far as a prison is concerned. The very first quality is that the prisoner in a prison, they have to follow the rules of the jailer. The jailer says you have to wear this, they have to wear it. The jailer says that this is your meal for today, then they have to eat it. The jailer says that at this time everyone has to do community work, and then they have to go do community work. Whatever it is, this is sleep time, lights off, lights on, up at this time, exercise, whatever. All of whatever the rules of the jailer are, those apply to the prisoner. And the prisoner can't say that my opinion is this. It doesn't work like that. No one is asking your opinion. You're over here. And the second quality of the jail is that no matter how long the jailer is and the prisoner is in the jail, they don't think to themselves, okay, this is my home now. And there's a continuous effort and there's a continuous desire that's always there, that I want to leave this place. That they understand that this isn't my home. They understand this is not my home, and I'd like to leave this place. The person is not content over there. So ulama mentioned that these are the two qualities that stand out for the believer in this world also. That the believer cannot say and do and wear and eat whatever they want. There's obviously choices to a certain extent. We're not saying that completely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala jailed us, so to say, literally. But there are hudud of the sharia, and that is what it means as sijn. That person says, no, I want to eat this, I will eat it. But if it is considered to be forbidden, it is considered to be impermissible, for example, then a person cannot eat it. Why? You can't say, well, in my opinion, this thing tastes very good, it should be made halal. But it doesn't work over there. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said so. Very simple reasoning. So all of the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether those things that we have to do or whether it's those things that we need to stay away from, they fall under this type of quality. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this world as it's a sijn. And the second is, the believer's heart is always content, is never content with the world. Rather, we are always longing for the akhirah. Yani what awaits us in the akhirah is much better. And that can be another quality if you want to expand on this quality. The outside of the jail is always better than what is inside the jail. And usually, except in some rare cases, people who are in very different situations. There's always that exception in this world. But in general, what is outside of the jail, what is outside of the prison, that is better than the jail itself. So that is why the believer always awaits for this, and the believer's heart is always attached to the akhirah. So these are the two qualities that a believer keeps in mind, or these are the two qualities that we view the world with. That we view our living in this world, in this hayat dunya, this worldly life, this is our approach to it. So from the very beginning, fundamentally, we have a very different approach. وَجَنَّةُ الْكَافِرِ, what is the quality of a garden, that a person, when they go inside this garden, they want to stay there for longer. Then a person wants to stay. A person wants to smell more fragrance of these flowers, of other flowers, of other plants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Person, especially you'll see if you take, for example, your kids to a park, then you say, 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes. If a person goes to a place where they're very attached to a very scenic area, then they just want to sit there. They just want to stay there. Just take it in more and more and more. Why? Because that place is very pleasing to a person. And there's no real restrictions that the people that are, for example, in charge of the administration of a park, and they won't tell you, okay, right now you can only go here, that you cannot go over there. There's a different thing. There's a construction or something else going on, but there's a certain level of openness, freedom. That person wants to walk here. Someone wants to smell the roses for 40 minutes. They can do that. They want to go. They say that no, I only like these flowers. Whatever they want to do, there is openness. There's freedom in the garden. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that person that doesn't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, doesn't rejects Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has no care about what will happen after they die. For them in this world, they'll do whatever they want. They'll eat whatever they want. They'll say whatever they want. They'll wear whatever they want. They'll act however they want. Whatever it is that they please, that they will follow their desires. Why? Because this is their garden. This is their Jannah. And this is the beginning and this is the end for them. There's nothing else for them to look forward to. This is it. If they don't enjoy it here, then what is left for them? Whereas a believer, for us, difficulty can come. Maybe it's a little difficult. Maybe it's a little hard. Maybe it's a little hard against the nafs, a person's desires. But despite that, a person suppresses that. Why? Because we have something much better to wait. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in verse 214 of Surah Al-Baqarah says, أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةِ, that do you consider, do you think, addressing the believers, do you think that you will enter into Jannah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? وَلَمَّا, يعني the Sahaba radiallahu anhum directly being addressed, primarily, secondarily thereafter the rest of the ummah. That do you think you will be able to enter the Jannah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? وَلَمَّا يَأْتِكُمْ مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ خَلَوْا مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ, and yet the conditions of those that passed before you have not come upon you. That those that came before you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested them in many ways. Yani why we mentioned that hadith, that someone may say that why does it even have to be like that? Why? So we were saying that this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sunnah in this world. That for the believers, this is not your Jannah. For the believer, this is not your Jannah. This is your sijn. This is a prison. So yes, difficulties will come. وَلَمَّا يَأْتِكُمْ مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ خَلَوْا مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ مَسَّتْهُمُ الْبَأْسَاءُ وَالضَّرَّاءُ, that many difficulties befell them, that they went through many trials. وَزُلْزِلُوا حَتَّى يَقُولَ الرَّسُولُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ مَتَى نَصْرُ اللَّهِ, that the believers, they were shaken to such an extent that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَزُلْزِلُوا, zalzala means, as you know in Urdu also, it means earthquake. وَزُلْزِلُوا, they were shaken. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested them with these type of trials. So وَزُلْزِلُوا حَتَّى يَقُولَ الرَّسُولُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ, that they were shaken and tested to such an extent that the Rasul, the messenger, and those that believe with him, they would say, مَتَى نَصْرُ اللَّهِ, that when will the assistance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala come? And this question is not to doubt whether the assistance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala come, but rather it is, as the apparent meaning is, that it is just asking that till what point will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala test us? Not that the assistance will not come. The Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't doubt the assistance, the nusra of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Rasul of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had yaqeen that definitely the assistance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come. But the question is, to which extent will we be tested? So وَزُلْزِلُوا حَتَّى يَقُولَ الرَّسُولُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ مَتَى نَصْرُ اللَّهِ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَلَا إِنَّ نَصْرَ اللَّهِ قَرِيبٌ, that indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's nusra is very close. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at one point will definitely assist the believers. So these are two subjects that we need to keep in mind. One is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not, if any difficulty, yani what was it, now again to tie in the hadith that we mentioned, that if any person goes through any difficulty, whether it's as far as their worldly affairs, their personal affairs, communal affairs, social affairs, family affairs, or whether it's in your deen, that this is something which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts believers through. This is part of the test. This is part of the system. A person shows up for the board exam and says that please can I have the test sheet also, the answer sheet also, can I look into my notes and my books? The examiner said, this isn't a joke. This is a time for you to give your exam. There is a difficulty, level of difficulty which is expected. If it's not there, then that's not a test, then it's a joke. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that this worldly life is for a test. This is to sift between the believer and the non-believer. This is to sift between those that are true to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and those that will fall to their desires. We make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't obviously we don't make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it easy for us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our test very easy. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala admit us into Jannah.